Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Telecast TV and Miracle Angala. You're watching a conversation with Anthony, one of the PDP members, speaking in channels on Sunrise Daily, saying that Mr. Wike, the FCT Minister, is the one responsible for PDP crisis. He mentioned all the chaos he has caused in the party and the things he has done, the agreement he has entered with some persons, even the bitterness he got during the presidential contest with Atiku Abubakar. He spoke at length, but the question is FCT Minister Wike really the cause of the crisis in PDP? Endeavor to subscribe, like, comment, share your thoughts. Don't miss any videos.
In fact, there are members of the PDP who say, look, we don't even know what may happen tomorrow, because you may think that you're speaking this truth for your party or for this governor, the next day he's somewhere else. So they think it's even becoming a lot more challenging. But from where you stand in your party, what's going on?
Well, PDP has had to metamorphosize over the years since after losing an election, and I've seen this happen. I was in a room 2 weeks ago, or two Saturdays ago, and in this room had since 2015 been a room where we sit down, about 45, 50 of us. From that 2015, so this 2 weeks ago, and everybody in that room was now divided between ADC and APC. I was the only one left in PDP.
Oh, dear.
And it was instructive, and it's the Nigerian story. The ability to focus on what matters. PDP is People's Democratic Party. It's a party that was formed to take power from the military. Now, a lot of people didn't get what they wanted and had to move, did not get what they wanted outside and moved into the PDP. But one thing I always ask them is, have you forgotten? Now, do you guys forget the essence of why you are in the party? Today, you just mentioned something about the caretaker committee asking for legality. There's nowhere in the PDP constitution that has caretaker. The only people that can constitute a caretaker are a serving NWC committee which draw power from the neck. There is a BOT of the party. There is at least a BOT that is untampered without, it doesn't have any legal issues. So where did that amorphous BOT come from? And a BOT that sits in the FCT minister's house or his conference room. I want to speak directly to the FCT minister because he is the root of this whole issue. He was upset about what happened in 2023, so he worked for the APC. We all agree. I would think that grievance has abided. As a young man, we look up to people who should be the standard. And what he is doing today doesn't set a standard. He should be careful. History is not going to write itself in another way. History is going to come along and say, here was a man that PDP had gifted everything at every stage of his life. I've contested for election, I didn't win in PDP. He has been made a local government chairman under PDP, a chief of staff under PDP.
Or elected.
Well, the party, let's say the party makes you. So I'm speaking as the party makes you who you are. Not that the party gifted it to him, but it made him. We're talking about the cooking pot that cooked him. And the cooking pot is PDP. And PDP has an essence, which is to give the people the best governance they can get, and governance driven by themselves, which are the people who nominate people who should be, and which is why every time we've had to tinker with PDP constitution, we've tried to make it more responsive to the demands of people. In all of these conversations we're having, Chamberlain, the most worrisome part of it is that we are not doing what as a party we should be doing today, which is holding government accountable. The government in power today, right? And this is the question. This other side that says that I have never seen a statement from that. And this is the distinguishing thing, because you know you were saying something. There's something you can, and I was thinking about it this morning, and I was thinking about justiciable truths. Not all truths are justiciable, and not all justice you get lives or abides in the truth.
So how can it be justice if it doesn't live or abide in the truth? I mean, it calls to question the very word justice.
You see, I've taken a particular interest in the evolution of our laws, common law, and how we have the court systems. It's usually in response to the needs of people and to provide them with an alternative to grievance. Today in Nigeria, with what we get from the courts, I dare say there is a great perception among Nigerians that they can no longer get justice. And when society...
Do you share that same view?
Unfortunately, and I say this with a very heavy heart because it is my core profession. I'm a lawyer. I'd like to see my practice flourish. I'd like to see it abide in the tenets that it ought to be. But you begin to see judgments where judges become Father Christmases and give what people have not asked for.
Is it what Oshomole referred to as black market injunctions or black market judgments?
I'm very wary of taking, you know, even Oshomole, I'm very wary of
No, forget the name, the messenger, but what about the message?
I think it's
I don't want to indict. I'm not here to indict the judiciary.
No, it's not about it. It's about what the truth is.
Yes, but I'd like the judiciary to take a look at itself. Take a perception audit from people. And they should do this. They're a public institution. They can employ people to do a perception poll, a general perception poll, and say, do people still trust us? Because when, and again, I go back to the evolution of the court system and how you eventually even had things like equity, right? The original practice of law was common law. And when the people of England felt it was too harsh for them, it wasn't delivering what it needed to deliver, they had to devolve to equity, to bring it in because it needed to soften the ground. Our judicial system is non-responsive. It is non-passionate about how people perceive it. Look at the comments of your last speaker. They say, after all, they'll tell us to go to court. And even the outcomes from these courts,
premeditated.
Not even just that. Let's even say the outcomes are numbed by our legislative capacity. So the laws that already exist, Electoral Act, i.e., are not sufficient for the law to deliver justice. How then have we proceeded to amend these laws to cater to the industry of justice? Because that industry suffers greatly in Nigeria. You cannot say to me that we have crimes that have been committed. Let me go back to subsidy. Let me even use subsidy as, because that was the first thing this president did when he came in 2020. He removed subsidy, which is ironic because he was one of those that protested against the removal of subsidy in 2011. And I'm tying this back to 2011. When subsidy was removed in 2011, certain things were introduced, and I'm going back to how it benefits the Nigerian people, right? Certain things were introduced. Shopee, you win. And in fact, to give Shopee credibility, a man no other than Christopher Kolade was introduced into the system as the one that manages the Shopee funds. Can you tell me, with the savings we have made from the comment of the president on May 29, 2023, can you tell me that you can verifiably say that those savings have impacted the lives of Nigerians? I'm telling you, Chamberlain, it is the life of the pit of hell. If anybody tells you that that thing has impacted the life of Nigerians, I travel from Abuja to Edo. You will get to a place in Lokoja, there is no more road. In 2020, in fact, 2026 today, that exists in the Nigeria that we are. And it's in Nigeria that has so much money.
Let me ask you, I mean, going back to some of what you said in your opening statements about the minister. So perhaps you could tell us, I mean, you're in the party. Is it true that there was some sort of conversation behind the scenes between the governor of Oyo State, the governor of Bauchi State, when they were supposed to have, I think, was it a certain meeting or is it a convention, and they had requested certain things, so he was left out of several other things, and he thought, you lot met me in this party. So if you want to play this and leave me out, despite what I had done while still remaining in the party, because you came here and met me, then that wouldn't go well. That's why some people thought what the PDP, the pot, as you described it, was self-inflicted. Because if you had managed the affairs properly, you had a candidate, a person like Peter Obi in the PDP at the time. PDP didn't manage that well. Then when he left the party, you saw the kind of vote and effect that he had. So if the party had managed it, perhaps, just maybe, Nigerians you might have been in the seat of power now.
Okay, because you raised Peter Obi, why did Peter Obi leave the party? Why did Umahi leave the party when he left the party? They all attributed to same Wike. Wike, they said, had control of Anambra PDP. Peter didn't even have a say in his own state.
And what did the party do about that? Why would the party allow one man do that?
Because this same man, from, this whole interview I'm having today, I've had it in 2016, it's deja vu. We always appeal to the conscience of the man with the most power. He always somehow finds himself in power. And this is not to discredit him. This is to tell him that history is watching his actions he takes today. He has so devalued the party by keeping it in court, by sustaining actions, because we cannot deny his involvement in what is happening in the party. But he should remember that the party has a duty to uphold opposition action against government. That is what democracy is about. Government sits pretty. Government does not see the pains of the people. The opposition should see that. I shouldn't come on your show, Chamberlain, and we're talking about scenarios within in-party scenarios. When we have, even within the FCT, when there were people were saying about the snake venom lady, I never saw the story until yesterday. I went on Twitter or X, and I saw Sahara report on the picture, and I realized this was a personal friend. It hurt me. This was someone and I opened our chat. I had to go back to the last chat, and she was trying to invite me for one of her shows, and she's in the Abuja Amenosa, this choir thing. It's sad that this happened in the FCT. I would expect a minister of FCT to focus on issues that concern his immediate purview. For weeks now, nobody has been able to do anything meaningful within the ministries surrounding the FCT because they've been on strike. But yet we're chasing politics. We're talking about issues that do not affect the life. We're talking about elections in 2027 when we're talking about staying alive in 2026.
As we wrap this up, could you just give Nigerians or everyone listening, probably, if we could call it an advice, because they've seen candidates who they thought were viable and credible, both at the federal and state level, but those candidates didn't win the elections because now we still have to operate through the party system. Maybe if you want to try independent candidates, maybe, who knows. So do you think Nigerians can actually go to these elections and get somebody who can really change things in this country?
You see, it's a whole system. We have INEC. INEC needs to do what it ought to do. We have the judiciary. I've just come out of the trauma of Edo State. My participation in politics has been about serving the people and has been about finding people who have this interest of the people at heart. Aso Ighodalo was one man that had a plan. He had what he had lined up for Edo people. And by one mischievous means or the other, and involving the same people we're talking about.
The courts, INEC.
No, the INEC, Wike, and he doesn't hide it. The governor doesn't hide that he was his beneficiary. It was one person that helped him do it.
But ultimately, he went to court, and we know
the point is this. The point is, We need to understand that this affects lives, a lot of lives. Nigeria has been annexed from different angles by Islamic forces, terrorists, and all of that. We don't have we don't have safety nets. We don't have any health. Our health institutions are either on strike or non-functional. We don't have anything that cushions the effect. I'm a businessman.
Unfortunately, we don't even have enough time to even focus on this kind of matters. Because
so we need to have conversations around what Nigeria... Parties, political... I'm in PDP. But right now, I'm more focused about what Nigeria... They already have a state. They have
There's a lot to talk about,
they filed in the appeal courts.
Yeah.
Let them resolve those issues. Let's talk about what's affecting Nigerians. What are pain points of Nigeria?
We will in due time, because we cannot afford to do anything less. We just have to.
We should not get distracted by. This is what they want. They want us to be distracted. They don't want us to have this conversation, because if you look at
we're out of time.
Let's have a proper conversation.
The clock
Let's
ticks,
talk about Nigerians and what pains they are.
I can't turn back the hands of time. If only I could, I would. All right, thank you for coming on, Anthony Ahilabo, a member of the PDP and also a legal practitioner. So all the best.